Picture this, it's 1943, and a German soldier, raised on Nazi propaganda, steps onto American soil as a prisoner of war. What he sees defies everything he's been taught: abundance, freedom, and a nation so confident it treats its enemies with kindness. This is the story of how America's unusual ways transformed not just prisoners, but the future of nations. You won't believe the sights that changed their minds forever. Watch till the end. June 4, 1943, Norfolk Naval Base, Virginia. An officer Herman Butcher steps off a ship, his legs wobbly after a grueling 14-day Atlantic crossing. The morning haze parts, revealing a scene that shatters 3 years of Nazi indoctrination. American dockworkers, white, black, men, and women, work side by side, operating futuristic machinery. Women in coveralls maneuver cranes with precision. Children hawk newspapers at the gates, unfazed by the enemy uniforms. No one runs in fear. Butcher whispers to his comrade, "Die Amerikaner sind verrückt, the Americans are crazy." This moment, later captured in his 1952 memoir Behind Barbed Wire, marks the beginning of an extraordinary journey for 425,000 German POWs held in America by war's end. The Norfolk base sprawls over 4,300 acres, its docks a hive of activity, cranes loading dozens of ships at once. In a single morning, this port handles more tonnage than Hamburg does in a week. But it's not the scale that stuns the prisoners, it's the normalcy. Civilians stroll near military installations. Vendors sell coffee and donuts within sight of warships. A brass band plays swing music at a war bond rally. To the 2,500 veterans of Rommel's Africa Corps standing in formation, it's surreal. America is at war, yet refuses to act like it. This society, so secure in its power, treats enemies like misplaced guests, planting the first seeds of doubt in their Nazi-trained minds. Processing at Norfolk delivers what Butcher calls the first impossibility. In Germany, prisoners were tools to exploit or burdens to discard. The Geneva Convention was a suggestion, not a rule. Here, American officers read the convention in fluent German, outlining rights and asking about dietary needs. Red Cross records from June 1943 note Jewish American sergeants handing out aid packages, offering kosher meals to Jewish prisoners. Some Wehrmacht soldiers laugh, thinking it's a joke. It isn't. Medical inspections defy logic. Wounded POWs receive penicillin, a miracle drug scarce even in German hospitals, on par with American soldiers. Swiss Red Cross inspector Guy Matro writes in July 1943, German prisoners receive care equal to or better than American troops. Black medical technicians draw blood from Wehrmacht officers, a routine act here, but unthinkable in Nazi Germany. The most jarring moment comes at the first meal. German POWs enter a mess hall where American sailors are eating. Enemies who fought in deadly convoy battles now share the same food lines, the same quality meals. The Americans barely glance at them, more engrossed in a radio broadcast of a baseball game. To the prisoners, it's incomprehensible. How can a nation at war be so nonchalant? This casual coexistence, this lack of fear, chips away at their belief in Nazi superiority. The 3-day train ride to camps in America's heartland deepens their confusion. Unlike Germany's secretive prisoner transports, these trains, comfortable passenger coaches, not boxcars, stop at public stations. At Union Station in Washington, D.C., civilians gawk as German POWs watch American families send off soldiers. Wives kiss husbands goodbye publicly. Kids wave flags. Teens sip milkshakes at the station diner. Guards seem more concerned with traffic than the prisoners. The trains pass factories with names in bold letters, like the Glen L. Martin plant in Baltimore, where B-26 bombers sit in plain view. In Pennsylvania, coal mines and steel mills glow orange at night, surrounded by workers' homes with gardens and electric lights. At Harrisburg, a worker tosses out a half-eaten apple to grab a fresh one, a casual act of waste that stuns officers who've seen their men fight over scraps in Africa. Camp Hearn, Texas, opened in December 1942 on 720 acres, housing up to 4,800 POWs in conditions better than many knew as civilians. Army records detail barracks with electric lights, flush toilets, hot water, and real beds, not straw pallets. Recreation halls offer ping pong, musical instruments, and libraries. Swiss inspector Emil Sandstrom notes in August 1943, Camp Hearn surpasses Geneva Convention standards and even German civilian living conditions. Lieutenant Colonel Cecile Stiles, the camp commander who speaks fluent German, shocks prisoners by announcing they'll govern themselves within the compound, electing leaders and organizing activities. To a military mind, this self-governance smells like weakness or a trap. The camp hospital, inspected monthly by the Red Cross, boasts X-ray machines, surgical suites, and penicillin equipment many German hospitals lacked. When prisoner George Gartner develops appendicitis in September 1943, he's operated on within hours by an American surgeon, assisted by German paramedics. The canteen, where prisoners use earned scrip to buy cigarettes, chocolate, or art supplies, baffles them further. The idea that enemies can shop for comfort scrambles their understanding of captivity. By September 1943, labor shortages lead to POWs working in Texas agriculture and industry, earning 80 cents a day, the same as American privates. At the King Ranch, spanning 825,000 acres, prisoners work with Mexican-American and black ranch hands, defying Nazi racial theories. Mechanized harvesters and trucks replace armies of workers, small planes even scout cattle. At cotton gins in Taylor and Waller counties, POWs see processing speeds unthinkable in Europe. Workers take breaks, eat full lunches, and listen to radios, yet outproduce German mills through good treatment, not harsh discipline. At the Alcoa plant in Rockdale, prisoners handle more aluminum scrap in a day than German factories saw in a week. At a Cameron cannery, they discard flawless produce for minor blemishes, food that would be treasure in starving Germany. Corporal Friedrich Müller writes, "The supervisor apologized for the waste, not realizing he was apologizing for abundance we couldn't fathom." POWs notice something else: Americans speak freely. Farmers criticize President Roosevelt without fear. In one incident near Bryan, Texas, a farmer tells a government inspector to go to hell over crop disputes and faces no punishment. In Nazi Germany, such defiance meant death. Local newspapers like the Hearn Democrat report POWs on Christmas shopping trips, witnessing teens dancing to degenerate jazz at soda fountains, unchaperoned and carefree. Women drive trucks, run businesses, and even fly military planes at Bryan Army Airfield. Churches invite POWs to services, where they sit among families with sons fighting overseas. The Hearn Democrat notes on December 24, 1943, no incidents reported. That Christmas, Hearn's 2,000 residents ensure POWs have a celebration. Churches donate 4,800 gift packages. Schools craft cards. World War I veterans from American Legion Post 164 give cigarettes and candy to their former enemies. A 30-foot Christmas tree glows with electric lights, a luxury unimaginable in Germany. The Methodist choir, led by a mother whose son fights in Italy, sings German carols. The feast includes turkey, ham, pie, ice cream, and wine. 5,000 calories per man, compared to Germany's 1,200-calorie civilian rations. This kindness, this confidence, breaks some prisoners emotionally, as Guard reports note. By 1944, Camp Hearn's secret re-education program, masked as voluntary education, takes hold. The library grows to 5,000 books, including banned German authors like Thomas Mann. Sam Houston State Teachers College offers courses in English, history, and agriculture, with 340 POWs enrolled. The camp newspaper, Der Spiegel, evolves from Nazi propaganda to democratic discussions. Army psychologists identify anti-Nazis, 10%, non-political prisoners, 75%, and ardent Nazis, 15%, tailoring education to shift ideologies. Major Maxwell McKnight reports in November 1944, 60% of non-political prisoners show movement toward democratic ideals. Exposure to American newspapers, radio debates, and the 1944 election where Roosevelt faces open criticism during wartime stuns prisoners. Democracy thrives in chaos, not despite it. POWs confront America's complex racial dynamics. Black soldiers guard them, issuing orders that some prisoners resist, only to be ignored by commanders. Yet, POWs eat in restaurants and theaters barred to their black guards, a paradox that confuses their Nazi worldview. Working alongside Mexican-American and black laborers, they see mixed-race crews outperform them, challenging ideas of racial superiority. Hermann Butcher, a staunch Nazi in 1943, softens after Christmas gifts from her own citizens. He writes, "Their kindness was strength, the confidence of victors." He immigrates to America in 1953, becoming a General Motors engineer. George Gartner escapes in 1945, lives as Dennis Wiles for 40 years, marries, and surrenders in 1985, his story told in Hitler's Last Soldier in America. Reinhold Pohl escapes in 1945 out of curiosity, works in Chicago bookstores, marries, and becomes a citizen in 1959, later sponsoring German immigrants. Camp Alval, Oklahoma, trains POWs in modern farming, skills they use to rebuild Germany. Camp Concordia, Kansas, sees POWs create murals and perform concerts for civilians. In Colorado's Camp Trinidad, prisoners receive Arctic clothing and 4,000-calorie rations in brutal winters, better than Wehrmacht troops on the Eastern Front. American Transparency, newspapers criticizing the war, comedians mocking leaders, shows democracy's strength. Only 2,222 escape attempts occur among 425,000 POWs, 0.52%, with just 54 lasting over 30 days. Sabotage is near zero. 87% work voluntarily. In 1945, America prepares POWs for a democratic Germany. Courses teach civil administration, agriculture, and public health. By May, 31,000 study vocational skills, 18,000 learn English, and 6,200 study business. State Department officials explain the Marshall Plan's rebuilding vision, shattering Nazi ideas of conquest. Post-war, 74% of returned POWs favor American democracy, 55% support a German-American alliance, and 5,000 immigrate to America, with 92% becoming citizens. Former POWs shape West Germany, 48 become Bundestag members, 312 serve as mayors, and 4,165 manage businesses. Industrialist Hans-Georg von Studnitz says in 1965, "We saw democracy work in America." Camp Hearn closes in 1945, but connections last. Christmas cards arrive until 2001. In 1984, 50 former POWs return, placing flowers at the American Legion Memorial. Fritz Zimmermann says, "We came believing in racial destiny. We left understanding democracy's chaos is its strength." Historians like Arnold Kramer and Judith Gansberg call this re-education through exposure history's most successful. German POWs expected a weak nation but found one so confident it showed mercy. They didn't just see American power, they lived its values, participating in democracy. This wasn't victory through destruction, but through humanity. The sights, mundane to Americans but revolutionary to them, sowed seeds for the Atlantic Alliance and Europe's democratic rebirth. What started as a journey of captivity became a transformation of hearts and minds. America's messy, imperfect freedom changed enemies into allies, proving humanity's power over hatred. Share this incredible story with others, and let us know your thoughts below. Thanks for watching.